What's up, guys? This is the second episode of me trying to get lean in the next 6 months. So I made an entire video explaining why I want to do this, how am I going to do this, what are going to be my macros and everything, what is my approach in the first episode of this series, this 6-month Road to 80 kg series. I'll link that in the description box down below. But this video is mostly going to be about my training style that I'm going to be using in the upcoming 6 months. And after a lot of trial and error, I have figured out what my training style actually is. Now, I'm making this video so that even you can understand, if you have not developed your own training style, how do you approach training? What is your style of training? How many days you give to recover? How is your exercise order? How much intensity you want to put in the gym? And keep in mind, training style is basically individualized. It is individual to every single person. Someone can have a different style of training and can grow muscle through that, but you cannot copy that training style, especially in your more advanced years of training, and try to get similar gains, because there might be another style for you which you can actually put on muscle. Now, that can only be obviously found through trial and error. Since the start of this year, that is January, I have been shifting my training style a lot. I was just seeking training novelty. That was because I had nothing else going on in my life, and I still do not have anything else going on in my life right now. It's been a year since I graduated from college, and since then I have nothing. I have no college, I have no job, and I'm just sitting at home, and the only thing that is somewhat productive and somewhat where I can put my mind and focus into is the gym. And when you have the gym only as your entire focus, and you kind of want to give yourself that dopamine every single day, which you stop getting from a monotonous routine, you try to seek novelty. The easiest way for me to seek novelty was through a new training program and a new diet approach every week. I would follow a new training style, new training program. I would do that for 2 weeks, and I would be like, this is not for me, and I would not stick to that, and I would keep on changing. Well, at least by experimenting all of that and trying to figure out new things of what influencers are saying online and their advice and everything, I kind of at least refined my original style of training, which I think is the best style of training, at least for me. Now, because of this experimentation period that I had for these 6 months, and also while being on a deficit, I don't think deficit is to be blamed for, but me actually experimenting, what happened is I did not stick to those core exercises that I had and that I loved and I wanted to progress on, and I just lost a lot of strength on them. Now, I do not know if that was muscle loss or my neural efficiency or my skill for that lift has gone down, and that if I go back to training those lifts, I might get my strength up. But because I have not been stuck to one exercise regimen for a long period of time, I have lost a significant amount of strength on my major compounds, which I always kind of have in my mind to gauge whether I'm actually gaining strength or not. Because that is the issue right now. What am I doing in order to actually better it and get back on track, get back to my training style while getting lean simultaneously by the end of this year? Before I get onto that, I would want to talk a little bit about my training background. So I started lifting weights when I was 16 years old in the year 2020. When there was COVID lockdown, started with home workouts, then I went to a gym. And originally my style of training was the bro split. Each and every muscle on a separate day, just do multiple exercises of that. And obviously I did not have a lot of knowledge, and whatever the gym trainer would tell me, whatever my experienced bros would tell me to do this in the gym, I would do that. It's not like I didn't make results, obviously, because I was a newbie. Continued till 2021, where I was introduced to 2x frequency training, distributing my volume on each session. Because now I had the chance to train each muscle group twice a week, but I do not care about the muscle protein synthesis again happening in the second time of the week. For me, it was mostly about me learning the movements. Now I have more opportunities to learn the movements, get better at them, be able to progress on them session to session, and train with intensity. So I still know that if I train chest today, again 2 days, I'm going to train chest again, and I'm going to hammer it the same way, and I do not have to wait another 7 days till I get back to my chest. And also for me, the best thing which I think about training frequency or 2x frequency is that you can split volume. If you have to do, let's say, 10 sets of a muscle group a week, you can split that into like 5 sets on session 1 and 5 sets on session 2, and mentally and physically you can fucking annihilate that muscle group in that particular session, because now thing in your head is not going to stop you from stopping yourself shy of failure, because you have multiple sets that are going to come for that same muscle group. 2022, I was introduced to 2 sets. Now, this is something which I was introduced by watching a lot of Chris Bumpstead videos, and I kind of figured out that he only does 2 working sets for an exercise. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? This is completely different from what other people are trying to say. 4 sets, 3 sets, and below that, you shouldn't do it. And I was like, it actually does make sense because I was the kind of person who couldn't do 4 sets for one exercise. It's not that I was physically tired. It was just that I did not think it's worth my energy when I have already so many exercises in my workout program, or let's say even if I have less exercises, putting all my intensity and energy into one exercise and doing it for like 4 sets. And I also back then did not know about science or any research paper. Just by practical experience, I kind of noticed that after the second set, your motivation dips down for that exercise. And when your motivation dips down, you just want that exercise to get over so that you can move on to another exercise. So you are not able to give in mentally. That mental aspect of you trying to go till failure and grunting, that aspect is not going to happen after your second set because you're already done with that exercise. I just thought that 2 sets definitely make sense, and I hopped onto a 2-set workout program where I would do 2 sets for each exercise. And that was like the best experience that I had. I was like, new doors open for me. I'm a big believer in mental capacity affecting your physical capacity because let's say, and it is proved by science now, it is something called as perception of effort, which I actually got to know recently. But before that, when I did not know what the fuck was perception of effort, if you are mentally not in the zone, for example, let's say you have a heavy deadlift to do and you have done it in the past, you've already, let's say, done it for like 3 repetitions. But when you go and do that deadlift again with like not that much focus and your mind is wandering somewhere else and you're focusing on some other bad shit that happened to you, maybe your ex-girlfriend broke up with you and you didn't think about that, you are not able to lift that weight for the same amount of reps that you lifted last session because you are not there mentally. And I really think that after your first and second set, depending obviously on the exercise movement as well, if it's a harder exercise, then generally even after first set, your mental capacity, or what I call the brain points, kind of reduce. Your perception of effort increases, which makes that exercise or that particular set harder than it was. After 2022, when I kind of experienced all of this 2-set wala bullshit and shit, I became extremely inconsistent in my training because again, I wanted to seek novelty, and there's some kind of like a mental issue that I had, that I would always try to seek novelty in multiple things, either that be a new girl, either that be a new makeover for me. And for me, the like ease access to seek novelty was changing my training approach. I suddenly changed to wanting to be a more athletic bodybuilder, and because of that, for 2 years I was into boxing, doing more athletic stuff, plyometrics and all of that. And in my head, I actually wanted to be jacked. It's just that my programming and my training was so shit. I wouldn't track my lifts, I wouldn't progressively overload, I wouldn't train till failure, I would just do reps till my muscles got pumped and burned, all of that bullshit. And because of that, I stopped putting on muscle as well after when I turned around 19-20. And to tell other people that I have been training for 4 years and I have not put on that much muscle, I was ashamed. So I thought that let me take up another endeavor like boxing, and I can tell other people that I'm a boxer, but I just train hypertrophy on the side just so that I can, improve my boxing performance, so that people won't judge me that, oh, I'm a shitty bodybuilder, because now it's like he's a hybrid athlete because he's doing both. He's not focusing on one thing. But in my mind, I wanted to focus on one thing, that was packing on as much muscle as possible, getting lean, but I wasn't doing any of that. Now I did that for 2 years, and in 2025, I was like, fuck this shit, dude. I want to go all in into bodybuilding because now my college was over. I had no one to give jawab to. मुझे किसी को जवाब देने की जरूरत नहीं थी. मुझे जो करना था मैं वो कर सकता हूँ, and I do not have that external pressure कि मुझे इतने टाइम तक ये फिजिक पानी है, या फिर किसी को बोलना पड़ेगा कि मैं 5 साल से ट्रेन करके भी मेरी चूत फिजिक है and all of that shit. So 2025 April, I still remember the date, I decided to leave boxing, go back to the gym and start training, but this time train in a way that actually makes sense. For me to be consistent in the gym, I have to do as little as possible in the start at least, ताकि मैं बस consistent रह सकूं. अभी वो as little as possible जो consistency के लिए मैंने चालू किया था कि I just limited myself to doing 2 to 3 exercises for one muscle group and just doing 2 sets for one exercise. उससे ये हुआ कि मेरी body बहुत अच्छी बनने लगी. My body started responding well. And that was not because low volume is magic. It was just because I was able to become consistent in my workout program, progressively overload, and much more important than that was कि I was training till failure. My muscles were experiencing mechanical tension, जो कि भी trendy word चल रहा है. Basically, mechanical tension is nothing but your muscular failure, जिसमें तुम्हारे reps जो हैं वो अपने आप slow down होना चालू कर देते हैं. And because I had just 2 sets and 2 exercises, again जिसमें मैंने बोला कि my mental capacity affects my physical capacity and my physical output. मेरे दिमाग में ये था कि मेरे पास बस 2 सेट हैं and इस muscle group के लिए मेरे पास सिर्फ 2 exercises हैं, and this is the only opportunity for me to stimulate growth. And मुझे opportunity के बस बाद में 3 दिन दिन बाद मिलेगी. So I gave my all out mentally and physically उन sets पे, जिसकी वजह से बहुत कम टाइम में I actually put on a good amount of muscle. It was like I experienced newbie gains again, because इससे पहले तक I had a very shit programming. I wasn't training properly and I wasn't training hard, like hard कि मैं जिम से आके exhausted हूँ, थक गया, पसीना पसीना. No, I was doing extremely less. But then I understood कि जिम में training hard is not how tired you are, but जिम में training hard is कितना तुम smartly कम चीजों में से ज्यादा output निकाल पा सकते हो, even with less input. And that is nothing but training till failure and having those basics of bodybuilding in your head, and that being your training frequency, that being your training volume, that being number one mechanical tension, and ये तीनों के साथ consistency, because if this is not there then this is not going to be there. 3-4 months के अंदर मेरी बहुत गंदी फिजिक से, बहुत कम मसल मास से अच्छा खासा मसल मास मैंने पुट ऑन कर लिया था, while simultaneously getting lean, क्योंकि I was dieting as well at that point of time. My strength increased. I was like, I think इतने साल ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद भी उस एक साल के अंदर मैंने सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ गेन्स पुट ऑन किया. आई स्टार्टेड लिफ्टिंग 40 kgs फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम चेस्ट पे, 40 kgs डंबल शोल्डर प्रेसेस. अभी ये चल ही रहा था कि 2026 में मेरे साथ एक बहुत गंदी चीज हो गई. आई वाज हार्ट ब्रोकन, मेरा एक बहुत बड़ा हार्ट ब्रेक फेज चल रहा था, एंड फॉर मी टू गेट आउट ऑफ दैट हार्ट ब्रेक फेज, द ओनली प्लेस वेयर आई कुड अगेन सीक नॉवेल्टी एंड फील अलाइव एंड जस्ट फील हैप्पी was the gym. इस वजह से जैसे मैंने बोला कि स्टार्टिंग से लेके अब तक I was just continuously changing my training program again and again and again and again, and एक पॉइंट तक मैंने नॉवेल्टी सीख करना भी बंद कर दिया था. पर उसके बाद मुझे ज्यादा डर लगने लगा कि maybe because that guy has an amazing physique and वो ये advice दे रहा है, I have to follow him blindly, and I would change my workout program after just seeing one video on hypertrophy जो कि science based lifter या फिर कोई भी बड़ा bodybuilder बोल रहा है, and I would change my training philosophy from becoming a science based lifter जो कि proper full on science based में है, to me doing all like bro style training, to me again going back to a mixture of both. बहुत सी गांड मस्ती मैंने की, बहुत ज्यादा गांड मस्ती करने के बाद रिजल्ट ये आया कि आई डिड नॉट पुट ऑन मसल. बिकॉज आई डिड नॉट पुट ऑन मसल, आई फाइनली डिसाइडेड कि अभी मेरे पास साल के 6 महीने हैं. बट उस फक अराउंड एंड फाइंड आउट के चक्कर में मुझे बहुत सी चीजें पता चली, एंड वन ऑफ द थिंग वाज दैट माय लेजी बॉडी बिल्डर प्रोटोकॉल जो कि मैंने बिल्ड किया था अपने आप के लिए 2025 में, विदाउट हैविंग एनी साइंटिफिक रिसर्च या फिर कोई भी साइंस बेस्ड लिफ्टर यूट्यूबर को देखे बिना, बस अपने आप का बायो फीडबैक, अपने आप का दिमाग कैसा चलता है उसको मद्देनजर रखते हुए मैंने उस प्रोग्राम को बनाया, एंड अभी मैंने उसको रिफाइन टच दिया अपने जो भी फक अराउंड एंड फाइंड आउट के एरा में. सो आई केम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट दैट इज द बेस्ट स्टाइल ऑफ ट्रेनिंग फॉर मी. और ऑल्सो एक चीज नॉवेल्टी के साथ साथ मुझे बस ये था कि आई वॉज दिस काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन जो कि आई हैड नेवर अचीव एनीथिंग गुड इन माई लाइफ, और आई हैड नेवर अकॉम्प्लिश्ड समथिंग. मैंने बहुत सी चीजें सेट आउट की लाइफ में कि आई वांट टू डू दिस, आई वांट टू डू दैट, बट आई नेवर स्टक टू दैट पाथ, आई नेवर अकॉम्प्लिश्ड दोस थिंग्स. आई नेवर अकॉम्प्लिश्ड बिकॉज आई वाजंट कंसिस्टेंट इनफ ऑन दोस थिंग्स. इसकी वजह से मेरे दिमाग को ये फीडबैक मिला कि डू नॉट ट्रस्ट योर सेल्फ बिकॉज यू हैव नॉट डन एनीथिंग गुड. सो इवन दो आई वाज ऑन द राइट पाथ, मल्टीपल थिंग्स लाइफ में जिम को छोड़ के भी, आई वुड ऑलवेज क्वेश्चन एंड डाउट myself that is this the right thing that I'm doing, and ये self doubt के चक्कर में I was blindly following whatever influencers were telling, and I thought that daddy ने ये बोल दिया तो अब बेटे को यही करना पड़ेगा. एंड मसल बिल्डिंग ऐसी चीज है ना कि इवन इफ यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक यू विल नॉट नो इट अंटिल 6-7 months गो बाय, बिकॉज यू बिल्ड मसल वेरी स्लोली. तो तुम्हें पता ही नहीं चलता कि तुम एक्चुअली राइट ट्रैक में हो या नहीं. इट्स जस्ट यू हैव टू ट्रस्ट योरसेल्फ इन दिस. आई एम ट्रस्टिंग माय सेल्फ इन दिस राइट नाउ. एंड दिस वीडियो विद वन कंक्लूजन, बट मैंने एक ट्रेनिंग फिलोसफी लास्ट ईयर डिस्कवर की थी, खुद के लिए मैंने बनाई थी, वो है गेटिंग स्ट्रांग एज फक ऑन अ स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड मूवमेंट पैटर्न फॉर एज लॉन्ग एज पॉसिबल इक्वल्स बिगर मसल्स. अगर मैं डंबल शोल्डर प्रेसेस को इस रेंज ऑफ मोशन टेम्पो सेम है, everything basically is standardized, मैं अपना strength बढ़ा सकूं from let's say 30 to 40 kgs by keeping the form same, I am putting muscle. You kind of understood what I tried to tell. You kind of maybe were able to take in a few things. How can you also define your training style, because at the end of the day everyone's training style is going to be different, and I think the best way to actually find the style of training that you like is to not even go with studies. तुम naturally किस चीज के तरफ हमेशा incline करोगे. Everyone I think has an original workout program, workout split style of training that they started out with. Maybe they refined it in the future and they try to do other things, but always they would come back to that style of training because they just have some soft corner and they see somewhat more results in that particular training. अगर तुम्हारे पास ऐसा कुछ है दिमाग में, go back to that training program. Ask yourself, how can I refine it a little bit more? बस उस पे stick करो. Thanks for watching this video. Second episode, बहुत लंबा वीडियो हो गया. Let's see how well or how much of a good physique I achieve by the end of this year. Take care and good night तो नहीं बोलूँगा, पता नहीं क्या चल रहा है अभी. So yeah.